Hey there everybody, welcome to Collision Course. I'm Nicholas Hausman and I'll be your host as we take a look at the top 10 innovations in astronomy. Now you might be wondering, what is astronomy? It's a branch of science that studies celestial objects, space, and the universe as a whole. First item on the list, the Crust Theory. This is the idea that the Earth was surrounded by a thin crust, and that the stars in the heavens were actually holes poked in that crust. This idea does not, however, state whether the sun is in or outside of this crust. Moving on to number 2, the Geocentric Theory. This was developed by ancient Greek philosophers in around 100 AD. It was the idea that all celestial bodies orbited the Earth. But that was proven wrong when Nicholas Copernicus, nice name by the way, proposed the Heliocentric Theory. Moving on, number 3, the Heliocentric Theory. This is our current model of the universe, in which all the planets orbit the sun instead of the Earth. Now, astronomers wanted to see more of the stars in the sky than just their eye or their imagination. So that leads us to number 4, the telescope! Developed by Galileo in 1609, the telescope allowed Galileo to look at the stars 3 times what you could see with the human eye. 3 times! But a year later, he could see it 20 times. So, first year, not so good. Second year, great! He was able to look at craters on the moon, discover the 4 satellites of Jupiter, see Venus, and all sorts of stuff in the sky. Number 5! Radio telescopes. Developed in 1932 at Bell Telephone Laboratories, the radio telescope sends and receives radio transmissions into space. So essentially, we are listening to the universe. Pretty cool. Innovation number 6, Sputnik 1. This Russian satellite triggered the space race during the Cold War. It made Russia the first country to have a man-made object orbiting the Earth. It began its orbit October 4th, 1957, and orbited for 21 days before the batteries died. And 4 months later, it burned up in the atmosphere. Number 7, more satellites. On February 1st, 1958, the United States launched its first satellite, Explorer 1, into orbit around the Earth. The 2 strongest countries in the world now had satellites in space. But who would be the first to send a living object into space and get it back safely? The Russians, that's who! Number 8, Sputnik 5. This was the first mission in which 2 living creatures actually made it out of the Earth's atmosphere and back in alive. The 2 dogs, Strelka and Belka, were the first to do it. The mission began August 19th, 1960 and ended August 20th, 1960. 24-hour mission. Not bad. Number 9! We choose the moon!
We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things.
On May 25th, 1969, Neil Armstrong was the first man to set foot on the moon.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
There would be a total of 6 manned moon landings between 1969 and 1972. However, due to budget cuts, no more trips have been made to the moon. And finally, number 10, Mars Curiosity. Now I know we're all pretty curious about what life is like on Mars, but I'm not talking about that kind of curiosity. I'm talking about the Mars Curiosity rover. That's the name of the rover. Curiosity. Launched in November of 2011, this probe took a 9-month journey from our planet to the Red Planet. It successfully landed in August of 2012, and it's been collecting samples for the past 3 years. How we'll get it back? Scientists still don't know. One scientist said that he hopes that we will send astronauts to Mars to retrieve it and bring it back. But if you're sending astronauts to Mars, I don't know why you need to bring it back. Anyway, that's all we have for today on Collision Course in Astronomy. Take 2, here we go! Boom! Yeah! Alright, Renshaw's class, let's go.